The trouble with UFOs. When I was younger, when I was a little kid, say about 8, 9 years old, my dad at that time was in the Air Force and he worked in radar. I even went into Cheyenne Mountain when it first opened. Uh, as a lot of people know, you can go inside of Cheyenne Mountain. Of course, I didn't go all the way back, just right in the front of it. And he showed me where he worked, like the radar stuff, and that he tracked radar. And later on, there was this couple, Betty and Barney Hill, that supposedly they were abducted by some type of aliens, and they were on this show called Art Linkletter. And I started talking to my dad about it, and he said, "Well, sometimes we see UFOs on radar, and usually there's a explanation, but not always." That's all he said about it. And after that, I was fascinated by the topic from then on, and I still am to some extent. Um, I think it's a very complex topic, and I must also say I consider myself very much a Christian, Catholic Christian. Um, I don't think that thinking that there could be people on other planets takes away from being a Christian, although other Christians disagree. The whole thing with the UFO, though, and aliens it's a very complex topic, and it gets very murky and very swampy. And this is what I mean. I'm just going to touch on it. There's this thing called Project Bluebeam, where they think that the government is going to pursue this program, which some people think it has started already, where they are going to create this scenario where they're going to scare the public into maybe even another lockdown, that we are being invaded by aliens. And this has been going on for a long time, like this idea of this Project Bluebeam. And supposedly Werner von Braun, who was one of the Nazi scientists that were brought over to work on our space program, said that first you're going to have terrorism, then threats of asteroids, and then the final thing will be the alien threat. Well, it seems like we're there now. So the only fly in the ointment for the people, if this is all true, that they're going to try to pursue this idea, is that a lot of people know about Project Bluebeam, so I don't know how that's going to work out. So I do watch some of these shows online where they discuss some of these topics, and there's this guy called Dr. Joseph P. Farrell that I follow some of his work. He's actually a Eastern Orthodox Christian, but he writes these alternative books and he has a lot of speculations on these things. And he says that it could be that they are trying to work into this Project Bluebeam, and we have a lot of different things going on. It could be that we do have aliens also that are different factions, good, bad, in between. Now there's another guy I follow too. His name is Dr. Taylor Marshall, and he's a Latin Rite, a proponent of a Roman Catholic Latin Rite theologian. And I heard him, a week or so ago, saying that, there wouldn't be any aliens. If they're aliens, they're demons. That there's no such thing as aliens. If there's aliens, I'm paraphrasing, but that was pretty much what he was saying. And then I was thinking, I do understand that concept, that that demons can appear to us as aliens. They'll use whatever in our time, whatever they'll masquerade as different things according to what time in history they're dealing with. So now today they might appear as aliens. I understand all that, but I also understand that maybe there really are aliens, extraterrestrials. And what if, for example, there was like some kind of different factions of, let's just call it Star Wars, going on. And if we're not going to acknowledge that there could possibly be extraterrestrial aliens and perhaps even wars going on, how can we defend ourselves? Are we just going to totally pull the wool over our eyes? And you have to be a little bit minded to realize that perhaps these kind of things are possibilities. And there are a lot of stories about astronauts seeing things in space, and both sides, when we used to call it the Soviet Union, Russians, and our side, anomalies in outer space, let's just put it that way. Supposedly there's even instructions that the astronauts were given, like in case they would find any kind of relics of civilization on the moon, like what they're not supposed to say and not say. Supposedly when the astronauts said Santa Claus, that was a code word for UFO when they were in outer space. I'm familiar with a lot of these stories, and so I think it's all very complex. It's all very complex. I'm to the point now when people say, what's the guy's name? Jeremy Corbell. He's talking about these different sightings. They don't even do anything for me because so much of it can be our stuff. It can be man-made stuff. It can be drones. That kind of stuff doesn't mean anything. They also think they may have the technology to do holographic images. It just goes on and on and on. It's another swamp, in other words. The whole UFO subject is another swamp, jungle, or however you're going to visualize it, that it's going to probably take a long time. And as we venture into outer space, we may be encountering these space anomalies, or maybe even different civilizations and different aliens. It could be, could very well be. So I think it's good to have a little bit of an open mind. I no longer think of them as all good, that's for sure. I used to when I was a kid, that they would, they might help us and save our planet and all this kind of thing. Well, I no longer think in those terms. I think, let's hope there's some good ones if they're out there, and they're not all bad, and they're not all out to get us. And let's just hope that there are some aliens that would be on our side. And I'm sure it's complex. And even if we did encounter alien civilizations, like they always say that even on our own planet, the inferior civilization gets swallowed up by the conquering civilization. We may want to keep our own civilization or do things our way, the way we want to do it. So I'm just saying the whole thing is, as I say, very complicated, and we're probably not going to understand all of it in our lifetime. But it is to be, in my opinion, it's good to be aware of these different ideas and how people think on these subjects, and maybe not fall for all of the schools of thought, not get into, well, let's say Stephen Greer thinks they're all good. I don't think that. If they exist, they're all good. And I don't know if they're all bad either. And I wouldn't say they don't exist at all, that they're all demons. I wouldn't say that either. I do think some of them may be demonic. But it's all a mystery. And as I say, we may not understand it at all not very well in our lifetime. But whether we like it or not, we're headed to, if we don't blow ourselves up, we're headed to the stars, most likely. Thanks for listening.